Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to graph y equals x plus 3 because we're graphing functions. And so we put this in our calculator in y1 and it shows us the parabola. And what we need is we need a table, and the table I had to move up so that I could get the proper points. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, 4, -4, 1, -3, 0, -2, 1, and -1, 4. And on my graph it looks like a parabola, and so that's the best I can do on my iPad. If I try to graph y equals the square root of x plus 1 minus 2, I take a look and it looks like the square root, and the lowest value for x was -1, and at -1 we're at -2. Once again, plug this into y1, get the equation. At 0, I'm at -1, and then I'm going to skip until I get to the next whole number, and 3, I'm at 0, and then at 8, I'm at 1. So plot these points: -1, -2, 0, -1, 3, 0, 8, 1, and here's my graph of y equals the square root of x plus 1 minus 2. Now, the difficulty comes in when we try to do piecewise functions. So I'm going to do this first part in green. So I plug in y1 equals x plus 1. And so it tells me that the first point is at 1, the second point is at 0. I'm sorry. No, the second point is at 1, 2, and then there's another point there, and another point there, and another point there. But I am only going to graph this portion of the graph because this says that x has to be less than 1. And at 1, instead of having a point there, I really have a hole, and this point shouldn't be there at all. Now when I graph y equals -x minus 1, when I plug it into the points, it tells me that it's going down like this. But this time it says that x has to be greater than or equal to 1. So I start at 1, and I have everything to the right. And this point is a filled in point because it's greater than or equal to, and that point doesn't exist there at all. And so there's how you graph y equals x plus 1 when x is less than 1, and -x minus 1 when x is greater than 1, putting in y1 equaled -x minus 1 to figure out the orange graph. Let us do one more of these. Y equals 4 when x is less than -1, and x squared when x is greater than or equal to -1. So this first one I'll do it in black. So when I graph y equals 4, it gives me a horizontal line here. So all of these points are at 4. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph until I get to -1, and then at -1 this should really be a hole, and the other points I do not need. When I graph y equals x squared, it's going to tell me at -1 I'm at 1, at 0 I'm at 0, at 1 I'm at 1, at 2 I'm at 4, and so on. And so my graph looks like that. And so basically the key to all of this is making sure that you graph the proper points. Sometimes when it's split, and sometimes it'll be split in 2 groups, and sometimes it'll be split into 3 groups.